Welcome to
Stitch on Friday.
See, I always forget the name. So nice that you're all here. Those of you who are joining us today is 9:30 on our side of the world.
Yes.
Pacific side of the world. We're at Pacific time, and I guess we're daylight, aren't we?
We're still daylight. Yes. Daylight savings.
So welcome to everyone who eventually joins us.
That's right. Yes.
Because as always, right at the beginning, we see 0, and then suddenly we have 4 viewers.
Yes.
So welcome to
There's
you.
always a little bit of a time delay.
There is. And it's kind of funny, actually, for us, because we're here.
That's right. And we start thinking, oh, geez, no one's going to watch us today.
But here they are. And
Good morning, Wanda.
Wanda, first off. It's always fun to see who comes in first.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining us, Wanda. It's lovely that you're here. So we've had another busy week. I haven't been doing as much Victoria Sampler work, though.
No.
I've been like AWOL.
Yes.
I'm finally taking the actual time off that I needed to have.
Yes, you have. I, on the other hand, have been busting my butt.
Kathleen says hello from Maryland. Feels like a sauna. Oh, I don't like that.
Oh,
So-
not here. Yeah, actually, as I was pulled in, there was a little sprinkle on my car, but
That's just a sprinkle. That's what we expect.
yeah, it's not doing any good right now. But,
No.
Yeah.
So what have you been busting for?
Oh, geez, I've been getting orders ready to send out to all our shops who have pre-ordered things, and it's a little bit of a task. You know, I've got to. And they're not small orders. I mean,
I know the last boxes I took to the post office
they were massive,
like huge and heavy.
Yeah, and I have to count, and then I'm such a stickler to make sure that I've counted right. I count again. Sometimes I count 3 times.
And then if you're counting like literally hundreds of things,
That's right.
then because they're all small, they fit into a box this big. But boy, you can get a lot in there.
You can get a lot in there, and I have to make sure that they're not crunched either. So
yes.
that takes a little bit of time to make sure that they're all going to be presentable on the other end. Hopefully they are. So
Yes. So you have to put in some packing.
and make sure that they're all lined up so they're not all, they're all straight, which I have a thing about being straight anyway.
I do too. I think that's part of being a needlework stitcher that does counted work.
Absolutely.
We like straight.
Yes, it all has to be in alignment.
Exactly. Hello, Suzanne Healy. Thank you very much for saying hello to everyone. Howdy, walking home from Mom's house.
Oh.
Yay, Tammy, you're not shopping today. Nora and Adams White is here. Mary Widritz is here. Hello. Loretta is here. So sorry that it's hot and humid. However, better than, any other alternative, like way too cold.
Yes. Hola, Marley.
Hello. Marge Wees is here. Thank you. We are very blue today.
Yes.
We're kind of hoping we'd match a little bit. I'm always like in a brighter color somehow. You've got the softer colors.
Yes. I go for, things that look like blue jeans.
Yes, and I think you like the cooler colors too. Anyway, you've got the blonde hair and it all goes together. But the two of us have slightly different blues. Mine is like in your face. Jean Morrison is here. Linda Bazarski is here. So hot and humid. Oh, I'm so glad no hurricane. Norma Farrow, Jennifer Gowan. Aw, you didn't mind. I wouldn't mind that either. And so what else have you been doing this last week besides packaging these huge boxes full of stuff?
Well, that seems to have taken some time. And then, of course, I received some more stuff in from our kit maker, which is going to be turned around and sent back out again. So
Right away, right?
Pretty much right
but
away.
The thing is, you don't just like get all those things in. You have to put away all the raw materials.
I have to put away, which I haven't done yet. So the back stock room is looking a little piled. And so, yes, today's job is, well, I have a couple of more huge orders to package up. And then I'm going to tackle the back stock room. Oh, not only that, I have bookkeeping to do today.
I know. She's just working. And luckily, I have Lisa here to work because I've been really like AWOL. I haven't actually checked in with all the Facebook group. Didn't look at my emails 2 or 3 days in a row.
Yes.
Which I have to then catch up with, of course. What I did this week was not do.
Yes. And I think that's a wise decision.
It wasn't actually a decision. I think I kind of just ended up.
You needed to?
Yeah. And I think that when you keep going and keep going, it takes a while to slow down.
Yes, it certainly does.
And the danger is to slow down so far you stop.
Yes.
And then when you stop, then to get going again.
I haven't gotten to the stop part.
No, but I think I'm a few years older than you are.
Yes.
So I'm not, trumpeting my age and compared to yours, but I am. And it's just something that I have to keep in mind. And for some reason, I find that I run out of energy a little bit faster than I used to 10 years ago. And so, to slow down feels like I'm not doing anything, but I'm probably doing still lots of things.
I think you're still doing lots of things.
Just not Victoria SAL things.
Other things.
But I have been thinking about what to do in the future.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. I haven't gotten to that part yet.
No, I know. And when we start talking about it, like for real, then you'll hear about it here first thing.
Yes.
It's actually so nice. Norma says, sounds like you joined the Senior Slacker Club. Welcome. It is a real feeling of slacking off. And actually, I know it's good for a person to do that once in a while, but Richard said yesterday, well, why don't you just quit everything then? I didn't mean the then, but why don't you just quit everything and just focus on yourself and do some painting or do other things? And I looked at him, I went, no. Not ready for that.
Are you crazy?
I just don't want to do as much, but it doesn't mean I want to quit. And also, we've been doing this for 25 years.
Yes.
And this meaning being involved in the needlework world.
Yeah.
Teaching, stitching, designing, sending out everything. So these are the things that I think that are in my bailiwick, the things that I like doing.
Yes.
And I now have become practiced at and a little better at. And so, to do something completely different, I don't think I'd have the same enthusiasm.
It's a little foreign, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I'm as adaptable to something new. Remember, you were talking about maybe getting another job next year.
Maybe.
Some other job.
Yes.
And then I heard what you said, because you basically were talking about, I don't know what else I'd be doing.
That's right. Yes.
Because your mind has to then go, okay, we'll open up, do something completely different than you've been doing.
Yeah, another job. What would that mean?
Yes. What can I take with me? What are the skills I can take with me?
Absolutely.
That would then make me feel successful. Because changing is harder when you're older, I think.
Yeah.
It's not like you couldn't do it, but then you'd have to put on a lot of learning curves.
Absolutely, and I don't think they'll let me put my slippers on is the problem.
That's the thing. Here, no problem at all. Put on the slippers.
I come in, I take off my shoes, and I put on my slippers. It's like...
It's kind of like the neighborhood. What's it? Welcome to the neighborhood?
Welcome,
the neighborhood. That one.
Oh,
when you put on your sweater.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes, like that. That's what it feels like around here. Aw. So I'm just going to go back and see everyone. Let me see if I'm missing anyone. I think that we've seen, we've seen Jennifer Gowan, and Pat Henke is here. Wonderful. Zuzana, I should say. It is good to hear and see you too, but only your chat, unfortunately. Donna Granger is here, and so welcome to you. I'm glad that we had a little chat. And we'll talk again, Donna. Bonnie says, good morning from Victoria, BC. Quiet in the office, so I'm able to pop in for a bit.
Very
Bonnie,
nice.
how nice. I didn't know that you were from Victoria, and I don't know if you've popped in before. Do you remember Bonnie?
Bonnie's been here before.
Okay, that's my brain.
Yeah.
See, I'm just too old. Norma says, I joined the senior club, and that is funny. Ellen says, good morning, ladies. Looking lovely. Thank you. Tanya's here. Hot still in Arkansas. Good morning, almost afternoon, Dorothy Wendell. So it looks like we've got a nice full house today.
Yes.
Quite a few people have joined us, and really appreciate that you do. It is nearing the end of August.
It is. Yeah. I think we've got, today's the 26th, 5 days left?
Yes, exactly. And I was thinking, what is coming up? First of all, there's a lot of fairs around.
Yes.
Country fairs.
A lot of country fairs. I don't think I'll be going to any of them.
Why come?
There's too many people.
Yeah, I get that. I was just going to say how come. I mean, I did say how
Yeah.
come, and then I realized, oh yeah, just not the right time for country fairs.
I don't think it's the right time to go out and be amongst other people right yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, we all have to acknowledge that this was not something we saw coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact that there was a variant was known and it was fine. But
Yeah.
then when the reality hits and not enough of us are vaccinated
Yeah.
in order to avert the higher spikes and stuff,
Absolutely.
and in some places it really are high.
Oh,
high
definitely.
stakes. So I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's
Yeah.
time to hunker down again
Yeah.
and get busy doing our own things.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the good things is we can be online together
Mm-hmm.
and we'll still be in contact with one another,
Yes.
just like we've been for the last
Definitely.
year and a half. But a country fair, I just love the whole idea of a country fair.
Me too. I'd love to. I was thinking of going to the fair, and then when the cases started going up, I went, yeah, not yet.
Corn on the cob, for instance. There's something about a fair and then going to get a corn on the cob.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too fond of looking at the pigs,
Yeah.
I have to say. There's other things you can go and see there.
I've never really been big on looking at the farm animals.
No.
Although the bunnies are kind of cute. But
Bunnies are adorable.
yeah, the chickens and the cows and all that kind of stuff. No.
I like them at a distance. I
Yeah.
don't like them sitting in a cage right in front of me. They're too close.
Yeah,
And they make a lot of noise.
they do.
And they kind of stink a little bit.
Yeah, that's the other thing, yes.
I have not grown up on a farm. Can you tell?
Yeah.
I think it's something really exciting for kids, though. And around here, there are a lot of farms and a lot of people who grow things, vegetables and chickens and everything, just in their backyards, too. Because I think that's allowed here.
Yes. I think you're allowed to have up to, 6 chickens?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder. And then there are people who are crazy about growing the biggest of everything, like
Yes.
the biggest cabbage and the biggest pumpkin.
The biggest pumpkin, I think, is being grown here in Canada anyways, and I think he's trying for 1,000 pounds or
Yep.
1,200 pounds
Yep.
or something like that.
Unbelievable.
Or the
right?
biggest on the island anyway.
Exactly. Dorothy Wendell says COVID's raging here again. I don't go out until I have to, and then I mask up. Yeah, exactly. Jennifer Gowan says can't wait for the cooler weather. Oh my, 103 degrees. It's almost like you're having to be inside, Jennifer. That's not
Yeah.
as much fun to be outside
No.
in those conditions.
You can't sit outside comfortably.
No.
Yeah.
Corinne, hello from England. Hello from Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
We're considered a little bit of old England.
We are.
But
Yes.
we're not,
Yeah.
but there are a lot of expatriates here. It's good to see you too. So we have some special stitches that we're going to be concentrating on,
yes.
right? We're
Yeah.
still in the same pattern, which is Beyond Cross Stitch Level 4, number 7.
Yes.
And I'll just show you the
It's right. That one right
pattern.
there.
And then there are 2 stitches in every one of these level 4s. One is a pulled thread stitch and one is a hem stitching stitch. And this week we're going to be releasing the pulled thread stitch, which is the Algerian eyelet that is really packed with stitches.
Yes.
Have a look at this. This is where it is. The Algerian eyelet that I did here, I think I'm the one that actually stitched this piece, there is no holes left unstitched. In other words, when you go around the square, you're catching every single hole around the outside.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Algerian eyelets, you always go down in the middle of any kind of eyelet.
Come up on the outside and go down in the center.
Yes. Years ago, I remember this teacher who drew in her little book. She had a little diving girl, and the girl was trailing a thread behind her. I don't know how she did. There was a little cartoon, and I remember her diving into the middle of this eyelet that she had drawn, and I thought, and I've never forgotten it.
Yeah.
Because basically, that's what you have to do: dive into the middle. And the reason is because if you come up in the center, what happens?
You're not pulling correctly.
That's for sure. And also, if you come up in the center of a filled hole, like if the hole is already filled with several other stitches, come up in a filled hole, you have a tendency to snag.
Exactly. And they also, they don't line up.
Exactly. So it's always good to go down in the center.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer Gowan, having me read to you. I've got the book right here, so this is good. It's not going away. Mary Widrow, it's finally got some rain in Iowa, hot and humid today. Well, thank goodness for that. I think that there has been some rain here, not a lot.
And I don't know if you can classify it as a rain. It was more like a little sprinkle.
Yes, but I'm thinking of the interior where all the fires are.
Oh, there has been some there too, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So where's my eyelets?
Oh, part of the cluster blocks there.
It is so true. This is Christmas wreath.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
You did.
Mm-hmm. This is the pattern. And this, in this case, it is on a box like this, which isn't lined, so you don't have to always line a box. And then you can see the Algerian eyelets at the bottom in the midst of the heart hanger around the outside. Notice how the heart hanger actually looks better when you tip it on its edge and you see it in a diamond shape like this. But the Algerian eyelets are in between. I keep trying to have it focus, and you know what? It just doesn't want to focus so easily. Or maybe it's my old eyes that are not focusing. Anyway, so you can see the Algerian eyelets all in between the cluster blocks, the modified cluster blocks, all the way along. And the way to do that, you will see on our YouTube channel. This wreath, by the way, turned out to be, even though it was a very simple pattern, a lot of people liked it.
Yes, it was a fun stitch.
Mm-hmm. And it's also really decorative and not so difficult. So even the heart hanger is fairly simple.
It's very simple, yeah.
Yeah. So that turned out to be a really big favorite from lots of people.
And
Did you see some Algerian eyelets in the mermaid song?
But they're done with metallics.
Ooh.
So.
There you are. So you can see them. You're doing really well. Yeah, right there. So those are 2 eyelets at a time. You can see it sparkling a little bit because the metallic makes it look really different and pretty.
And this design is called Mermaid Song. So there's the front. The heart hanger part is the flap for the pouch.
Mm-hmm. You can put things in there.
You can put your threads in there and that. And it's got a lovely mermaid and an orca. And then on the back, it's a little... It's Victoria.
It's a little scene. I think that Victoria has a church like that, the Parliament buildings. It has a Fiskard Lighthouse and a few of our little buildings in Oak Bay.
Absolutely.
My imagination buildings.
And then, of course, there's a little scissor case, which also has the Algerian eyelets.
That's true. It does, indeed. Yeah, that looks great.
This one doesn't have a back to it.
No, it should have, shouldn't it? I should have put something on the back of it.
Oh, you could have. You could still, you could stitch the mermaid twice.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. And then it also has the little needle shell. And of course, you did this in 2010 for the retreat.
Can you believe it?
Exactly.
You've been doing this for so long.
There.
I love the way this is finished. This is so pretty. And on the other side is another
little mermaid.
And the Bargello in this one is, for some reason, I like the best.
Oh, I love the Bargello on it, yes.
It looks really neat when it goes around like that.
Yeah.
Donna Granger and Deborah Brandt says the wreath is gorgeous and Donna's going to have it. She's got it in her to-do pile. And crossing my fingers that you can, Donna. Milady is here. Hello. Good to see you.
And Donna, I thought you had stitched this long ago.
Somehow I got the feeling you had too, but no, it's the wreath that she's got.
No, that's what I thought too, that she had stitched the wreath a long time ago.
Maybe you had, and you just want to do it again.
Could be.
Lisa remembers things that I don't remember. There's some people have said that if you really pay attention to something, you'll remember it, and it's true. Things that you don't like, you can remember. At least I can remember those things. But remembering all the good things in my life, it's really hard because there's so many.
Yeah.
The good people, the good things.
Absolutely.
I'll hold this for you.
You're gonna.
You can describe it.
This is the button sampler.
Button. Who's got the button?
That's right.
And actually, there's a lot of buttons that you can put in yourself. These are not buttons. These are embroideries. And we're going to come to the Algerian eyelet really soon. Really soon. And look there's some buttons over here, right? So you can use your own buttons there now that there's no more accessory packs being made. Do we still have some packs of the button sampler?
I don't think so. I think that one's all gone. But
there's some Algerian eyelets, and those ones are also, they're not completely filling every hole, I notice.
Yes.
So there's only 8 stitches on these ones. And but they are stitched with an over dye, which I absolutely love doing and seeing how that all works. When I do stitch an over dye, I very often will stitch around the entire eyelet so that you get one eyelet, not with two different colors, but with kind of one color. Yes. So that's the button sampler. But the button sampler, I think there might be still an act pack for that.
Oh, okay. And then this is the jazz sampler. I just love this one. I love the colors in it. I think it turned out very nice.
The thing that I love about New Orleans is the jazz. And I was lucky enough to go there once for a retreat.
You did, yes.
Was it once or twice? Could have been twice. It was just the most wonderful place because I love music and I especially love jazz. It's my favorite kind of music. And so I guess that's where all this came from. It's not my usual style, but it was also done for a project there. And I think I did part of a project that other designers also used, and then I made this design out of my part of the project.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Oh, when the Saints come marching in. This is really colorful, really fun. Those of you who've been to Louisiana, who've been to New Orleans, you'll understand and love this. And also anybody who loves jazz or anybody that you know loves jazz would possibly appreciate this. You could give it away as a gift.
You could. I had my 16th birthday in New Orleans.
Isn't that a cool place to go on your 16th birthday? Did you do the bead thing?
I'm sure I had beads. It was a long time ago. Can't quite remember everything, but.
And did you do any other naughty things?
No.
Good.
I'm with my parents, my sister, and
so. Oh, well then.
I think Mom and Dad went to a jazz. It was during the day. It wasn't in the evening, and they probably went to a couple of jazz clubs.
Left you alone with your sister.
I was 16. My sister was 14. We just hung around in the French Quarter, and it was fun.
Yeah, I loved it there. And what was this one again?
This is the Victorian band sampler, and the Algerian eyelets are the center of the flowers.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to go to the center of the flowers, and I'll be answering you, Dorothy, in a few minutes. So the center of the flowers are all Algerian eyelets. Can you see them? So love is a fruit in season at all times and within the reach of every hand. That's what it says. And as you can see, there are outtakes from various other Victorian designs that I have done in the past. This was from a purse that I did. And then the alphabet is new. And then this little section here was a part of a little tiny needle book. And these all actually came together beautifully in a long sampler, including this part, which was also part of the
Victorian purse?
Victorian purse, exactly.
And it's the same colors as the Victorian pincushion, too.
Exactly. These are all similar colors. What I did it on was willow, I think it was called.
It was willow green, which is no longer available.
I love this color. It has got such character. And, of course, if you go to any other home dyer or dyeing company, you might find something that's similar. It's kind of like a greeny, beigey.
Yeah, I think Picture This Plus had one.
That was similar?
Yeah, what did they call it? Harvest, maybe?
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. So that's the Victorian band sampler. And the Algerian eyelets are right in the middle of the silk ribbon flowers. Sheila Hofer, you're never late if you arrive.
Yeah.
Just better late than never. And Larry Wyma's wife, hello. Thank you, Loretta. Dorothy Wendell asked, will Victoria Sampler chat group still continue? Absolutely. We're continuing, and we are bound and determined to definitely last until the end of this year.
Yes.
And I have a funny feeling, Dorothy, the way things are going, that you will not have to worry about it disappearing. It's a wonderful place for people to be. And until I know more about what Lisa and I are going to be doing in the future, I really can only say that the chat group is one thing that for us is a joy and is not too complicated nor expensive to maintain. So yes, it will still continue. Thank you, Susanna. I just absolutely appreciate it so much that you guys love these patterns. And a lot of the patterns are Not ones we show very often.
No, I try to choose ones that we don't display that often.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that have Algerian eyelets. They're almost every design. If
Or-
it has a heart hanger,
That's right.
will likely have
Yeah,
an Algerian eyelet in it.
Yeah.
Aw. Loretta says she loves Facebook Fridays, and it's true. We still call it that once in a while. And Stitch
Yeah.
Along Friday was my attempt at trying
Yeah.
to get rid of the word Facebook.
Facebook.
But hey, Facebook Fridays, we know exactly what you mean. We actually love it too. It's funny, Lisa has taken time off before. Of course, she
Yeah.
doesn't actually live here, which I do. Although
It just
sometimes,
feels that way.
Exactly. But when she's not expected to come in or she has a holiday or whatever, she's still here.
I still come. I
Because-
enjoy it.
Because we love
Yeah.
it. And luckily, what we do here has been enjoyable for you all too.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us all the time. I really mean that. It's not something I expect. Every time people show up, I'm still happily surprised.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's why at the start we're always wondering, is anybody going to come today?
We expect things to suddenly change and people won't come. We have to make sure that what we say has more to do with stitching than with us. But sometimes we get carried away with what we're doing.
That's right. Exactly.
So and the weather
And the weather.
and COVID and you know all these other things. So hopefully we'll still stay relevant, and we'll just keep on being here until we stop being relevant to you. I've got some really nice ideas for the future, and I'm hoping that the energy level is there enough so that I can enjoy and be with you all in
I'm
different
looking
guises.
forward to hearing what your thoughts are.
Mm-hmm. And one of
Yeah.
the things you've done is to check and see whether we have room in the inn.
I have. Yeah.
And apparently
I still
we
haven't-
do.
We do, but I still haven't heard back from her. So I'm going to have to nudge her again. And
But it all depends on we've apparently opened
Opening.
our borders to Americans to come into Canada, but it
But-
hasn't been returned.
Yeah.
We cannot visit the States, but
Yeah.
you guys can come back and forth here. So
Mhm.
that helps if you're in America.
absolutely.
If you're in England, I don't know how your travel arrangements are, and I know Australia and New Zealand also have very
Restrictions
much
on
restrictions.
traveling.
So as far as our togetherness goes, I am expecting not too much from in-person gatherings. I'm hoping, of course, like we all are, but I don't think that this is going to still work for the spring. I kind of think that if anything, it will end up having to be next fall.
The fall instead.
But we're putting it off only because we don't want to make it so that people can't come.
That's right.
I mean, what's the point in only a few people coming?
Yeah.
So we're keeping it under our, we're going to keep trying to see whether it's possible. But apparently it's possible next spring.
Yes.
It is possible.
It is possible, although there may be restrictions on the number of people we can have in the classroom.
I know. So we're just going to cross our fingers that way. But hey, there is online and there is virtual ways of us getting together. And that's what I'm focused on.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a great idea to maybe look at doing a virtual retreat.
That I am definitely considering. I think that's going to be the way to go. I have also noticed that I tried doing a lot of cross-stitching the other day, and my two thumbs, but mainly my left thumb, just isn't being helped by even if I wear the brace or whatever. So I'm not as stitchy. I can't do as much stitching, but I can design, and I can also perhaps work online with you all to make all of that possible. I would like to have somebody who would like to stitch my designs, and so I was talking to someone this morning, and they said, I didn't want to mention their name, but they said that they couldn't because they had problems with their hands and wrists and stuff. So
repetitive stress.
yeah, and that happens, I think, when
in your
you're
joints.
doing so much stitching.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody out there that is interested, just email me at Thea@victoriasampler.com if you're interested in doing any stitching at all. And what that would mean is rapid stitching. This does not mean, keeping it for several months. It would be reasonably within a month that things need to be done.
Sometimes even within a couple of weeks.
Well, I can't exactly expect the impossible.
And that includes shipping back and forth.
Exactly.
Just kidding.
Wanda, send me an email. I'd love to hear from you. That sounds really nice. And Sheila says, nice to be in great company. That's how we feel too. And it's like visiting with old friends. Exactly. Hello, Anne Kozlak. And looks like Dorothy. Thank you. I love Facebook Fridays. Excellent. I'm so glad that everybody loves it. Lordy, if I didn't have a 16-month-old to chase after, what a great job that would be. Well, we're not sure whether it would be a great job.
No.
It's more like slave labor.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. It doesn't pay greatly.
No, but it is a wonderful thing to be able to do some. And
Yeah.
I've done this before where there have been a number of people who would stitch for us. And we had, like, I think about 20 people. And so not everybody could do every single one, right? So we would give some to one
Yeah.
person and some to another and some to another. And we've done that before. But I've never designed and not stitched it myself.
No.
So I'm going to need to have someone who has some idea of how to do some coloring. In other words, to choose the colors that I suggest. And those of you who are here and have been doing the stitch along are kind of getting practiced at doing that. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about Wanda, for instance.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Wanda would like to do it. And we'll see if there's anyone else that emails me. Don't put it here. Just email me.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's more details on that ahead.
Yes.
So I wanted to read a little bit. Do you think I could read a little bit?
That sounds good. I seem to have an eyelash poking me in the eye.
Well, in that case, I'll just read while you're doing that.
While I'm trying to
Plain
get it out.
and fancy, yes. And I stopped last time about plain sewing, plain housewives. I absolutely love the whole idea of being able to peek into the lives of these women years ago in America, mind you. But I think that all over the world, particularly English speaking and also Scandinavian speaking, Northern European, they had something similar, whether it was exactly the same as these American history books show. But that could be because their histories are all written in their home language. So I can't read out loud from theirs. But maybe one day, we can compare. Because seriously, the people in Norway that did Hardanger,
Yes.
because they lived in Hardanger, it was called Hardanger. It's a type of needlework that they did for their costumes. They started about the same time, around the 17th centuries, 18th centuries, starting to embellish their own costumes. And Ukrainian people also did, but they produced totally different kinds of stitching, even though that was all also quite counted and regimented in stitching, so that you would use even weave fabrics. Anyway, this is for the American history. Plain sewing was a task that lent itself to socializing too. A woman could bring it with her when she went out visiting, or she could pick it up while socializing at home. Because it required no great attention, and I know which ones a plain sewing would be, like doing hems.
Yeah, that's right.
It doesn't require a lot of attention.
Or mending.
Yes. Not so much when you're picking out different colors and that kind of thing. But when you're doing plain sewing, mending, I think, would be one of the really important ones. She could join in the conversation or listen while someone else read out loud. In itself, plain sewing could be either arduous or repetitive or relaxing and almost therapeutic, depending on the particular task and the needlewoman's mood. The products of the work: fresh new sheets, that sounds good, pillowcases, linen towels, and chemise, could provide a woman with a great deal of satisfaction with her skill and her contribution to the household. For the woman who made her own outer clothing, for instance, the completion of a new or even remade gown must have been especially a pleasurable event. Before colonial women could do plain sewing, however, there had to be fabric with which to work. This is something that I don't think any of us have ever experienced, where you could not find it to buy it, even if you had the money. It's difficult for us in the industrial age to appreciate fully the value that was assigned to most textiles during the 17th and 18th centuries. When it says the 17th century, I always wondered why they did this in English. They mean 1600s. And the 18th centuries is the 1700s.
Yes.
So really, this is going back a ways.
Yeah.
They were, in fact, considered so important that inventories of household possessions listed them immediately after land holdings, money, and silver. So the order of importance was land, money, silver, textiles. Really important for people. Since repairing and reusing an article of clothing was far less costly and time-consuming than making it new, a garment was mended and remodeled over and over again until the fabric became so badly worn that it was cut down and remade into a garment for a younger, smaller member of the family. And when the smallest child had finally worn through it, it could be cut up and pieced together to make a bed quilt. I guess we all kind of recognize that at least and understand what that's about. Consequently, few examples of plain clothing survive in original condition today. Even the more elaborate costumes and garments we have from this time are nearly all remodeled versions of earlier costumes. So you won't find, clothing from the 16th and 17th centuries that haven't been remade or what do they call that?
Restructured.
Like cut down, changed, the hem's gone, put in more tucks here and there. So you'll see all sorts of fine holes where previous stitching was, just like you would find it if you did it here. And I would just go on for one more paragraph. Several factors accounted for the high value of textiles. Here's the reasons. During colonial days, cotton was not the basic textile that it is today. Before the revolution, most of the cotton that came to the colonies was grown in India, then shipped to England for processing, either as fiber or as cloth. Although cotton mills began operating in New England, in America, New York, and New Jersey in the late 1780s, it was not until well into the early 19th century that Eli Whitney's cotton gin and Arkwright's mill solved the previous problems in spinning and weaving cotton. With the advent of the new technology, cotton yarn and fabrics became much more inexpensive and very popular in the United States. Silk fabrics were even rarer during the colonial period. Some families might even grow their own mulberry trees and cultivate silkworms. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They'd probably be really well off if they had their own mulberry trees.
Definitely.
However, the rest of the silk making process required way too much labor to support profitable large-scale commercial production. The process called for a silk reeler who would unwind the fibers from the silk things, twist them into thread. Then a weaver would turn the threads into fabric by means of very special hand looms. One such craftsman, fringe and lace maker James Butland, advertised in the August 15th, 1774 issue of the Pennsylvania Packet that any person having silk of their own may have it manufactured into silk stockings, sewing silk ribbons, etc. You believe it? You have your own silk and you didn't even know how to weave it because it required special looms. After the Revolutionary War, American ships began irregular voyages to China and brought back silk fabrics at steadily decreasing, though still not low, prices. So by about 1830s, the competition for foreign silk put the continuing faltering American silk makers out of business. So that's American silk. And I think in Europe, they were already importing silk from China long before that. But they're talking again about the American silk making and cotton making processes. So during these years, the 1600s to 1700s, I believe that in America, fabric was extremely valuable and rare. So imagine now you're going to be stitching on this rare stuff that could be used for a pillow or for... So I remember seeing that some of the stitches that were being made and were being created were on not tablecloths, but dish towels.
Yes.
Because they had it and it was even weave and it had porous nature. So I can only imagine what it must have been like. So frustrating to want to have a piece of linen or fabric that you could do your sampler on. Right? And that is... People don't recognize how much women went through in order to be able to do fancy sewing. But we're still back in common sewing or simple sewing. So in the future, you'll find out more about this. That's enough for today. Our reading is ended. And I'm just going to mark it because I have to make sure that I start again where we left off. Okay. Cotton and silk were luxury fabrics. I can hardly wait to hear about next time. Next time. Let's go back up because some people have said something. Lordy. Oh, yes. Already read that. Pat Henke says, I used to stitch for other shops. I could not keep up the pace now. That's understandable. And I can't either, so I understand.
Yeah.
Lynn Burton says, I ordered the Plain and Fancy hardback book from the U.S. online thrift shop when you first started reading to us. It wasn't very expensive, and they shipped it to the UK free of charge.
Wow.
I'm hoping I don't get an invite. No, if you haven't gotten one yet, you probably won't have one. I'm so glad. It sounds like it's was easy for you to get. How nice. And Anne says, I love hearing all the history. I kind of do too, even if it's not in my country necessarily. Yeah. It's still fascinating to see how women managed to still stitch fancy things, even while they were colonial women doing all that hard work and all the plain sewing that they were doing as well. So we have a shorter little hour.
We do?
Today.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately. I've got another little thing that I have to do fairly soon. And I don't want to forget to give you the newest stitch along. The newest is the last part of the August stitch along. And you've seen it already. It's okay? I have.
Yes.
Do you think it's okay?
I think it's really cute. I think what's coming next month is also very cute.
Yes. I just finished doing next month's. I just finished designing. It was really fun to stitch. So this month ends with the most beautiful scene that I can think of to do with August. August is a time when we either do camping or we do camping in our camper van. So you can put your own camper van in there where the tent is. The tent color, you may want to change that. But it gives you a suggestion and some bushes, etc. And there's also a little band at the bottom that's made up of back stitching, little cross stitches, and some lazy daisy stitches. So the lazy daisy leaves are there as well. So this design this time is going to be the last of the August designs. And I also want to let you know that when I put up the first links so that you could reach the new patterns every time, I noticed that Facebook held back my post right away. And the reason I did probably is because I'm posting them on my commercial site, okay, my website, which is commercial. So then they start talking about it like it's a product. Well, I'm not selling a product. I'm giving you something for free here.
Yeah.
So what I've done now is I have added the new link to the same post. And that way it doesn't have to go through some kind of vetting by the Facebook people. So what you'll see is the same post all the time until the end of the year. The same post will have a new link in it for August part 4. For instance, but you'll see all the other ones in between, before that. So you won't see a new post, and you'll see all the same people having said thank you. And much as I appreciate all your thank yous, and I do read many of them, it's okay if you don't say thank you all the time, because I do appreciate that this post is going to get really long by the time I'm done. But I thought it would be very important for us to make sure that we have all the links in one post. So all I do now is add a link to the top for the next
portion of it.
The next portion, exactly.
Too bad that Facebook changed the files section.
I don't know what happened, and I heard from someone else that they can still upload files
in a different group.
Yes.
Yeah.
So somehow it just happened to us, and I don't know whether it was because they were so popular that we were flagged.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we did have an awful lot of downloads from those files. So maybe that's what it was. I honestly don't understand or know or really care at this point. I have managed to work around it, and many of you now remember that you have to look under announcements.
Yes.
At the top of any page of the chat group, just look for the word announcements. Instead of discussion, you have to go into the announcements, and then you will see really the only announcement there that I'm going to leave there all the time is the announcement that shows the brand new portion that is going to be coming up. Adorable, me too. Loving history. Oh, good. Adorable, love it. Thank you, Jennifer McEwen. Have a great weekend, everyone. Tammy says the August finish is perfect. My girls and I are still camping in our front yard tent. I must have had you in mind. One of my other designers, a cross-stitch group, can still post their chart files. Weird with Facebook. Exactly right. And the funny thing is, I was back and forth with them to ask for help. They agreed that it was weird. They actually said, yes, we don't understand what's happening. We'll kick it upstairs, and I have yet to hear from them. So whatever happened to us, hopefully has not happened to anyone else, but we've managed to work our way around it, so you still get your free patterns. It's so nice of you to come by, all 40 of you. Thank you. And what are you going to do this weekend?
Let's see. I get to pick up my new glasses tomorrow.
You have new glasses?
Bifocals.
Yes.
I went bifocals for TV viewing and stitching.
Perfect.
So, my progressives, I said, I don't like my progressives. They're not giving me a wide enough range for my close-up work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he suggested bifocals. I said, well, I'll give them a try.
Well, that's exactly what I have.
Yeah.
And I love it. And the whole bottom is completely a bifocal.
Yeah.
It's not a little bit. I got the whole bottom all the way across.
Yeah, and I think that's what mine are too, is the whole bottom will be...
then you've got a wide field of view and you can see well. I can hardly wait for you.
Yeah, so I'll get those tomorrow. And other than that, it's just recuperating from dental surgery this week.
Poor Lisa.
Yeah.
She had little extraction.
Yes, I actually, I don't think it was a little extraction. It was quite the experience.
Any extraction, a molar extraction particularly, can just really knock you back, eh?
Oh, it certainly can.
Yeah.
And anyways.
And you are still here, which is wonderful. Lisa had the extraction 2 days.
Wednesday afternoon.
Wednesday. So yesterday she still came in bravely. You have to admit, the dedication is phenomenal. I said stay home. No, I've got too much to do.
Too much to do. It was a quiet day, though. So,
yes. I made sure. I didn't go in there with any demands.
Yeah. I just, sat at my desk and did some quiet work.
And you'll have a nice quiet weekend, hopefully.
I will.
And recuperate.
Yes.
Good for you. I, too, will have a quiet weekend, but hopefully I'll be able to be more productive with regard to decluttering.
Yeah.
Which I've been doing quite a bit of. That's what I did this week. I just remembered. I did a lot of decluttering.
You did.
And it's not just in my home, but also down here that it all has to be combed over, and it takes a lot of energy.
It does.
So I hope that all of you have a wonderful weekend also. I don't see any other little notes here, so that's good. I'm going to be ending the video any moment now. So I hope you and I are going to be here next week on Friday for another installation of Stitch Along Friday.
Exactly. Until next week. I'm having problems speaking. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.